There will come a day when you wake up and everything around you feels heavy. The people you trusted will seem distant. The things that once excited you will lose their color. The world will appear to conspire against your peace. And in that moment, you will be tempted to surrender, to say, life is too hard. Happiness is for those who have it easier. But I tell you this truth, happiness was never meant to be easy. It was meant to be earned through the mastery of your own mind. For the strongest souls are not those who never fall. They are those who rise each morning and push themselves to smile, even when the world gives them no reason to. To push yourself to be happy every day is not denial. It is power. It is the divine act of commanding your emotions instead of being commanded by them. It is to say, I will not let the weather of my circumstances determine the climate of my soul. Happiness is not a mood. It is a method. It is a sacred discipline practiced by those who understand that joy is not found in events. It is forged in the mind. Every day you choose happiness, you prove to the universe that you are greater than your environment. You must learn to live detached, not from love, but from dependency. The one who depends on life to deliver happiness will always suffer when it does not. The one who creates happiness within becomes unstoppable. Detachment is not coldness, it is spiritual confidence. It is knowing that you can love without losing yourself, give without expecting, and stand tall when everything around you falls apart. The detached soul does not run from life, it walks through life untouched by its chaos. It understands that peace is not the absence of storms, but the ability to remain still within them. There is a hidden law in life. What you cling to controls you. The more you chase happiness, the more it escapes you. But when you stop chasing and start being, happiness begins to flow to you. Detachment allows you to live in abundance without being owned by it, to experience loss without being broken by it. It is the art of mastering the self. The ability to say, I have emotions, but emotions do not have me. You were not placed on this earth to react. You were placed here to create. Every thought, every feeling, every response shapes your inner kingdom. When you allow anger, sadness, or fear to control you, you surrender your throne. But when you choose peace deliberately, when you rise each day and say, today I will be happy regardless of what comes, you reclaim dominion over your soul. Happiness then becomes a weapon, a silent declaration that nothing external has power over your spirit. Life will test this truth. It will send loss to see if you still choose gratitude. It will send betrayal to see if you still choose forgiveness. It will send delay to see if you still choose faith. And in each test, you will either react like a servant of emotion or respond like a master of self. The choice will always be yours. The one who passes these tests becomes untouchable, for they have built their happiness upon something eternal. There is a wisdom the world does not understand. The happiest souls are not those who have everything. They are those who need nothing. They have detached from the illusion that happiness is something to be found. They understand it must be generated, not granted. They have learned to bless their pain, to smile through uncertainty, to see beauty in the ordinary. These souls do not wait for perfect days. They create them. Do not misunderstand this principle. To push yourself to be happy is not to deny sadness. It is to walk through sadness with purpose. It is to use pain as polish, suffering as strength, and delay as divine timing. The fire that hurts you today may be the very flame that forges your peace tomorrow. The heart that learns to be happy when everything goes wrong becomes a beacon to those still lost in darkness. Each morning is a silent invitation. Life asks, will you let circumstances define your mood, or will you define your mood despite circumstances? And every time you answer with joy, every time you choose peace, you rewrite the code of your destiny. The mind that rules itself can never be conquered. The spirit that finds happiness in hardship becomes immortal. Detach from the need to control outcomes. Detach from the need to be understood. Detach from the illusion that happiness depends on what happens. Your true power begins the moment you stop needing life to please you. For the one who can be happy without reason is the one who has found divine reason. That is mastery. That is freedom. That is the highest form of wealth, to be unshaken, to be calm, to be happy, even when life is hard. So push yourself to be happy every day, not because life is perfect, but because you are no longer bound by imperfection. Everything changes when you realize that happiness is not the result of your journey. It is the fuel that carries you through it. There is an invisible force that governs the quality of your life, and it resides within your own mind. The way you interpret life, the meaning you give to pain, the thoughts you allow to live rent-free in your consciousness, all of these shape your happiness far more than circumstances ever could. To push yourself to be happy every day, even when life is hard, is not an act of denial. It is an act of awakening. It is a declaration that you are no longer willing to be a prisoner of emotion or a slave to events. You are choosing to stand in spiritual authority, to say to life, I am not what happens to me. I am what I decide to become because of it. The universe bends in favor of those who refuse to bend under its trials. Happiness, therefore, is not a gift handed to you by luck. It is a decision born from inner power. Every human being is tested by the same principle. Will you let the outer world control your inner world, or will you master yourself regardless of what unfolds? When you push yourself to be happy, you are not ignoring reality. You are rewriting it. You are training your spirit to see beyond the fog of temporary difficulty and recognize that every challenge carries a hidden seed of growth. Pain is not punishment, it is refinement. When you meet suffering with gratitude, life begins to change its rhythm. You stop feeling like a victim and start living like a creator. Happiness is not a reaction to what happens outside of you. It is a vibration you generate within yourself that attracts new realities into being. The one who is emotionally detached is not heartless, they are whole. Detachment is the art of remaining centered when everything around you is shifting. It is the realization that the world will always fluctuate. People will disappoint, plans will fail, dreams will delay, but your inner peace does not have to crumble with them. Detachment is not about withdrawing from life. It is about engaging with life without letting it own you. It means you can love deeply without fear of loss, work passionately without attachment to results, and give generously without needing validation. In this state, your happiness becomes unshakable because it no longer depends on the unpredictable winds of circumstance. You become a calm observer in a world of chaos, and that calmness becomes your crown. To live detached is to trust that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. It is to surrender the illusion of control and embrace the divine order that governs all things. You may not understand why certain doors close, but detachment allows you to know, deep within your spirit, that a closed door is often a divine redirection. Life's wisdom is not always gentle. Sometimes it breaks you open to reveal what is eternal within you. When you cling to what is fading, you suffer. But when you release what must pass, you make space for what must come. Happiness is found not in possession, but in permission. The permission to let go, to grow, to trust, and to begin again. There is a sacred strength in smiling through the storm. It is not the smile of ignorance, but of insight. It says, I understand that this too shall pass. The one who can remain joyful when all seems lost has already transcended the ordinary limits of humanity. They have touched the realm of spirit, where peace is not dependent on conditions. Every morning, when you wake up and choose happiness despite uncertainty, you are exercising the muscles of your soul. You are teaching your mind to serve rather than rule you. You are saying to yourself, no matter what happens today, I will not surrender my joy. This daily act of defiance against negativity is what transforms ordinary people into extraordinary souls. The truth is that life will never stop testing you. It will test your patience through delays, your faith through silence, and your love through betrayal. Each of these tests is a mirror showing you how much you have grown or how much you still need to grow. The weak look outward for comfort, the strong look inward for power. You must remind yourself that happiness is not the absence of struggle, it is the ability to face struggle without losing your light. When you push yourself to be happy, you are affirming that you have already won the inner battle. The external victory will only mirror what has already been conquered within. You cannot find happiness while chasing it. It only appears when you stop searching outside yourself. The moment you realize that nothing external can complete you, you become free. Freedom is not found in the ability to have everything go your way. It is found in the realization that you can remain peaceful when nothing does. True happiness is the child of detachment and faith. Detachment says, I am not my circumstances. Faith says, everything is working for my good. Together, they form a state of consciousness that nothing can destroy. The storms may roar, but you will not be moved. The winds may blow, but you will not bend. Because your roots are no longer in the soil of emotion. They are in the ground of spirit. To push yourself to be happy is to awaken divine intelligence within. It is to declare that your joy is not negotiable. It is to understand that the same power that created the stars also breathes within you, and that no external event can diminish that light unless you allow it. When you live from this awareness, your energy shifts. People feel your peace and are drawn to it. Challenges lose their power over you because you no longer see them as enemies but as teachers. The things that once broke you now build you. The disappointments that once wounded you now reveal your wisdom. You begin to live with quiet certainty, knowing that nothing real can be taken from you, and nothing lost was ever truly yours. Detachment does not make you less human, it makes you more divine. It allows you to experience the world with full presence, but without fear. You can love, work, and dream, but you are not imprisoned by outcomes. This freedom is the essence of happiness. To push yourself every day to smile, to hope, to trust is not weakness. It is the highest form of strength. For only the strong can remain kind in a cruel world. Only the enlightened can remain peaceful in chaos. Only the awakened can remain happy when there seems to be no reason to be. Happiness then becomes the proof of your spiritual evolution. So when life feels heavy, remember that the universe is not testing your worth. It is revealing your wisdom. The obstacles you face are not blocks, they are bridges to deeper understanding. Every time you choose happiness despite hardship, you rise above the ordinary human pattern of reaction and step into the realm of creation. You are no longer moved by appearances because you have touched the truth within. That truth whispers softly, all is well. And when you live from that whisper, when you trust it, when you embody it, happiness stops being something you pursue and becomes something you are. There is a hidden strength within every human being that remains dormant until life becomes difficult. It is in the moments when everything seems to fall apart that the soul has the opportunity to rise. To push yourself to be happy every day, even when life is hard, is not about pretending everything is fine. It is about activating that hidden strength and awakening your divine power to command peace in the midst of chaos. Happiness, when born from understanding, becomes a shield. It guards your spirit from despair. It reminds you that you are greater than the sum of your circumstances, and it allows you to see that life's storms are not here to destroy you, but to purify you. Every difficulty is an initiation into higher awareness. Every trial is an invitation to practice mastery over your emotions, to detach from the temporary, and to align yourself with eternal truth. To master happiness is to understand that life is not against you. It is refining you. Every disappointment, every betrayal, every loss is shaping a stronger version of you. Pain is not a signal that something has gone wrong. It is a divine teacher calling you toward transformation. When you resist pain, it controls you. When you learn from it, it frees you. This is why pushing yourself to be happy even in suffering is not foolish. It is sacred. It is the soul recognizing that joy does not depend on what happens outside, but on what is cultivated inside. The person who can remain joyful in sorrow has discovered the secret of true power. That power does not scream, it does not boast, it simply radiates from within, untouchable by external conditions. Emotional detachment is the path to this inner power. Detachment is not an absence of feeling, it is the presence of wisdom. It is the realization that feelings are temporary visitors, not permanent residents. You can acknowledge sadness without surrendering to it. You can feel fear without feeding it. You can experience uncertainty without being consumed by it. Detachment allows you to see emotions for what they are, passing waves upon the surface of the infinite ocean of your being. Beneath those waves lies something unmoved, something eternal, something divine, and that is you. The moment you stop identifying with every emotional storm, you awaken to your true nature. You realize that you are not the noise of the mind. You are the awareness behind it. You are not your problems. You are the consciousness that observes them. When you understand this truth, happiness stops being conditional. You no longer wait for the world to align with your desires before you allow yourself to feel peace. You no longer depend on people's approval, circumstances, or timing. Instead, you decide. You decide to be happy, to be peaceful, to be whole. And once that decision becomes a daily practice, life begins to respond to your vibration. The world rearranges itself to mirror the state of your mind. This is one of the deepest laws of existence. The outer world is a reflection of the inner world. Change your inner world, and everything outside you must follow. The practice of pushing yourself to be happy, therefore, is not about ignoring reality. It is about creating a new one. To do this, you must understand the art of letting go. Detachment and happiness are twins born from surrender. The moment you release the need to control everything, peace finds its way back into your heart. Control is the enemy of joy. The more you try to dictate how life should unfold, the more resistance you create. Detachment is the recognition that you cannot control outcomes, but you can always control your attitude. You can choose patience when delayed, trust when uncertain, faith when unseen. The soul that surrenders to divine timing is never truly disappointed. It understands that everything happens exactly as it should, even when it makes no sense in the moment. Happiness grows in the soil of trust. The one who trusts life cannot be defeated by it. There is an old spiritual truth that says, the one who depends on external things for happiness will always live in fear of losing them. Fear is the natural child of attachment. You fear losing what you think you need. You fear being without what you have come to depend upon. But when you detach, fear dissolves because you no longer build your identity on fragile foundations. You realize that everything external is temporary, and that is not something to mourn. It is something to be liberated by. Detachment teaches you to appreciate everything, but depend on nothing. To hold all things with an open hand, knowing that what leaves was never meant to stay, and what remains cannot be taken from you. The mind that accepts impermanence becomes serene, because it no longer fights against the natural flow of life. There will be times when happiness feels like an impossible choice, when loss seems too heavy, when silence feels unbearable, when your dreams crumble and your faith feels distant. In those moments, you must remind yourself that you are not here to be perfect. You are here to evolve. Growth does not always look graceful. Sometimes it looks like breaking down so you can rebuild. Sometimes it looks like falling apart so that your spirit can finally rise unburdened. Happiness in hardship is not about smiling through pain. It is about recognizing that even pain has purpose. Every time you endure with grace, you strengthen your soul. Every time you choose gratitude when it's hardest, you expand your capacity for light. This is what it means to push yourself to be happy, not to fake joy, but to find meaning so deep that even sorrow becomes sacred. Your happiness must become an act of rebellion against despair. Every morning you rise, you declare silently, I will not let darkness dictate my day. You take control of your emotional destiny by deciding to be the source of your own light. And as you do, something extraordinary happens. The energy around you begins to shift. People feel your calm and are lifted by it. Situations that once overwhelmed you lose their power. You begin to see patterns you could not see before, solutions that only clarity can reveal. Happiness, then, becomes not only your state of being, but your strategy for transformation. It becomes your greatest strength, your most profound wisdom, your most unshakable weapon against negativity. Remember this eternal truth. Happiness is not the reward for a perfect life. It is the foundation that creates one. When you live with peace in your heart, you stop chasing what is fleeting and begin attracting what is aligned. Detachment frees your spirit from the chains of expectation, and in that freedom, happiness naturally blooms. You begin to notice beauty where others see only chaos. You find calm in the midst of storms. You see meaning in what once felt meaningless. You realize that joy is not something you wait for at the end of the journey. It is the very force that carries you through it. To push yourself to be happy every day, even when life is hard, is the ultimate act of faith. It is the soul's way of saying, I trust life, I trust myself, I trust that every experience is leading me closer to truth. The one who lives by this faith becomes unstoppable. For when you no longer need life to go your way in order to smile, life itself begins to go your way. The storms still come, but they no longer drown you. The darkness still falls, but it cannot blind you. You walk through life serene, detached, powerful, and free, because you have discovered that happiness is not a destination. It is your divine nature, and nothing in this world can take that away from you. Happiness is a deliberate act of creation, not a passive response to comfort. Every moment you live, you are either designing your peace or destroying it through the way you think, feel, and respond. To push yourself to be happy every day, even when life is hard, is to understand that happiness is not born of ease. It is forged in adversity. The great souls of the world were not those who lived without hardship, but those who transformed hardship into wisdom. Each trial they faced was a mirror reflecting their inner strength, and each challenge became the classroom of spiritual growth. So when life feels unbearable, remind yourself that your pain is not meaningless. It is calling you to remember who you truly are, something infinite, something eternal, something that cannot be defeated by temporary difficulty. When you wake each morning, you are faced with a sacred decision. Will you surrender your emotions to circumstance, or will you command them with purpose? To push yourself to be happy is to choose purpose over pain, alignment over reaction, truth over illusion. It is the conscious refusal to let external storms determine your internal climate. The person who learns to smile while standing in the fire is no longer a victim of life's conditions. They have become the master of them. Happiness is not the denial of pain, it is the decision to rise above it, to transcend the energy of fear and stand firmly in faith. That choice, when made daily, transforms the ordinary mind into a divine instrument of power. Detachment is the secret door to this power. The world teaches attachment. It teaches you to cling to possessions, relationships, status, and outcomes. But attachment is a subtle form of slavery. It ties your peace to things that can be taken away, and it binds your spirit to constant anxiety. Detachment liberates you. It allows you to love without fear of loss, to give without expectation, to act without the burden of needing results. The detached soul is not cold, it is clear. It does not love less. It loves purely, because its love is not based on conditions or control. It simply radiates goodness without the fear of disappointment. Detachment is emotional independence, and from it springs the deepest happiness possible, the kind that no event can alter. There is great misunderstanding about happiness. People believe they must wait until everything aligns, until success is achieved, until love is found, until pain disappears. But this is a trick of the mind. If you wait for happiness, you postpone it indefinitely, because the mind will always find another reason to delay it. The wise do not wait for joy, they create it. They understand that happiness is not a result, it is a responsibility. You owe it to your soul to live in peace. You owe it to your purpose to maintain your energy. Happiness is not selfish. It is sacred stewardship of the life force within you. When you are happy, your vibration heals not only yourself, but everyone who crosses your path. To push yourself to be happy is to practice spiritual courage. It takes courage to smile when you are misunderstood. It takes courage to stay calm when the world falls into panic. It takes courage to keep faith when your path is hidden in shadow. But every act of courage opens a higher frequency within your being. The more you choose happiness despite pain, the more life begins to reflect that happiness back to you. You attract peace because you have become it. You attract love because you have stopped needing it. You attract abundance because you no longer chase it. This is the silent alchemy of spiritual detachment. The more you let go, the more flows toward you. Understand this truth deeply. The universe is not interested in your comfort. It is interested in your evolution. When life becomes difficult, it is not punishing you. It is preparing you. Every loss removes what is no longer serving your growth. Every delay rearranges you toward divine timing. Every disappointment awakens you to greater wisdom. If you resist, you suffer. If you accept, you ascend. Detachment allows acceptance, and acceptance leads to peace. Peace is the seed of happiness, and happiness becomes the soil in which new miracles grow. What once looked like chaos begins to reveal itself as divine choreography. In moments of darkness, when everything seems lost, remember that light is not something you find, it is something you remember. Happiness is that remembrance. It is the knowing that within you exists a stillness untouched by pain, an awareness that has never been wounded, a divine spark that has never been dimmed. When you live from that awareness, life's noise loses its power. You stop chasing validation, approval, or control. You move through the world lightly, with ease. You may still experience emotion, but emotion no longer defines you. You can watch joy and sorrow come and go as clouds across the sky, knowing the sky itself remains untouched. That sky is your true self, vast, still, and radiant. There is no greater strength than to remain joyful when everything is uncertain. This joy is not naive, it is sacred wisdom. It says, I trust the process, even when I cannot see it. It is a silent faith that whispers, this too shall serve me. It is a maturity of spirit that no longer demands constant reassurance. Detachment makes you self-sufficient in peace. You no longer beg the world for happiness, you bring happiness to the world. You become a giver of light, and in giving you are filled. Many think happiness means constant laughter or the absence of struggle. But happiness is a vibration of balance. It is serenity in motion, not stillness without challenge. The happiest souls are not those who have escaped pain. They are those who have understood it. They see pain as a purifier, not a punishment. They see endings as beginnings in disguise. They see life not as something to survive, but as something to serve. And because of this understanding, their hearts remain open, even when the world tries to harden them. Pushing yourself to be happy every day is the most profound spiritual exercise you can perform. It trains your mind to serve the divine instead of fear. It anchors your soul in purpose instead of panic. It reminds you daily that your state of being is your greatest creation. Every morning, when you decide to rise with gratitude instead of complaint, when you choose peace over worry, you are rewriting your destiny. You are planting seeds of light that will bear fruit in seasons to come. Do not underestimate the silent power of your happiness. It is more than an emotion. It is a force that shapes reality. When you walk through difficulty with calm, you influence the unseen. When you respond with love instead of bitterness, you shift the energy around you. The universe listens to vibration, not words, and the vibration of joy is the highest command you can send. The soul that learns to remain joyful when the body and mind are weary has transcended the limitations of matter itself. That soul lives free. So push yourself to be happy, not because life is always kind, but because you are no longer controlled by its cruelty. Push yourself to smile, not because all is perfect, but because perfection was never the goal, peace was. Push yourself to stay detached, not because you do not care, but because you care too deeply to let fleeting emotions rule eternal truth. The day you understand this, you will know what it means to live in harmony with the divine order. You will no longer chase happiness, you will emanate it. And everything that once seemed impossible will begin to unfold naturally, effortlessly, inevitably, because happiness is not the reward of life well lived. It is the reason life exists at all. There will always be moments in life when happiness feels far away, when the weight of disappointment, loss, and uncertainty seems too heavy to lift. Yet, these are the very moments that define the strength of your spirit. It is easy to smile when the sun is shining and every dream unfolds as planned. But the true test of mastery lies in whether you can create your own light when the world around you grows dark. To push yourself to be happy every day, even when life is hard, is to awaken the divine will within, the power to command peace when everything else calls for despair. Happiness, in its purest form, is not a reaction. It is a revelation. It is the realization that nothing in this world has the right to disturb your inner state unless you give it permission to. Every day is an invitation to practice this truth. The mind will tempt you to believe that happiness depends on external events, on success, relationships, recognition, or comfort. But none of these things have the capacity to sustain lasting joy because they are temporary. Real happiness is self-generated. It comes from within, from alignment with your higher self, from living with purpose, gratitude, and faith. The moment you decide to no longer rely on outer conditions for inner peace, you take back your power. That is when life begins to bend to your vibration instead of you bending to its chaos. To push yourself to be happy daily is to declare that your emotions are your responsibility, not the world's. It is to look at adversity and say, "You may shake my circumstances, but you will not shake my spirit." Detachment is the invisible armor that protects your happiness. To be detached is not to stop caring. It is to care deeply without clinging. It is to participate in life fully, but without fear of loss or need for control. The moment you release the desperate grip of attachment, peace begins to flow effortlessly. The one who is detached can walk through change without resistance, through endings without bitterness, through pain without becoming it. Detachment does not remove you from life. It elevates you above its emotional turbulence. You learn to observe rather than react, to respond rather than panic, to trust rather than doubt. This state of awareness allows you to experience everything without being consumed by anything. The detached soul is a calm ocean beneath the waves of the world. The truth is that everything external is fleeting. People come and go, seasons change, success fades. Even the body you live in will one day return to dust. To tie your happiness to impermanence is to build your peace on a foundation of sand. But to anchor your joy in spirit, in the unchanging core of who you are, is to stand upon rock. You can lose everything yet still be whole. You can be rejected yet remain worthy. You can fail yet not fall apart. Because true happiness does not depend on what you have, it depends on what you are. And you are not merely flesh and thought, you are consciousness itself, eternal and untouched by circumstance. To remember this is to awaken to freedom. Happiness is not a luxury for the few, it is the birthright of all. But few claim it because it requires discipline. It demands that you rise above your emotions rather than sink into them. It calls for faith when doubt seems easier, gratitude when complaint feels justified, and calmness when chaos surrounds you. Happiness is the daily practice of mastering the self. Every time you choose joy over resentment, peace over conflict, trust over fear, you strengthen your spiritual muscles. You become less reactive, more resilient, and infinitely more radiant. The world may not change immediately, but your perception will. And when perception changes, everything changes. There is a quiet strength in those who can smile through suffering. Their joy is not shallow, it is sacred. It is the strength of one who has met pain and refused to become it. Such a soul understands that life's trials are not punishments, they are processes. The pressure you feel is not meant to crush you, it is meant to polish you. Diamonds are born under pressure. So are wise souls. When you push yourself to be happy even in difficulty, you declare to the universe that you are ready for transformation. You become like gold refined by fire, untouched by fear, unmoved by uncertainty, unbreakable by disappointment. The practice of detachment teaches you to witness your emotions without identifying with them. When sadness arises, you observe it. When fear visits, you notice it. When anger tries to control you, you breathe and watch it pass. You do not suppress your feelings, you transcend them. You understand that emotions are weather, but you are the sky. They come and go, but you remain. This awareness is the essence of inner freedom. Once you realize that you are not your thoughts, not your moods, not your circumstances, you become untouchable. Life may throw its storms at you, but your center remains still. That stillness is happiness. It is not loud or dramatic, it is steady, radiant, and eternal. When you live from this inner stillness, you stop chasing the future or clinging to the past. You live fully in the present moment, which is the only place happiness ever exists. You begin to notice the beauty that others overlook, the silence between breaths, the warmth of sunlight on your face, the miracle of being alive. Detachment sharpens awareness, and awareness awakens gratitude. Gratitude is the bridge to joy. You cannot be deeply grateful and miserable at the same time. Gratitude aligns you with abundance because it focuses your mind on what is right instead of what is wrong. Every time you give thanks, even for small blessings, you expand your capacity for happiness. You move from reaction to creation, from fear to freedom, from chaos to clarity. The more you practice this, the more you realize that happiness is not something you chase. It is something you remember. It has been within you all along, buried under layers of worry, comparison, and attachment. When you detach, you peel away those layers and reveal what was never lost. You stop asking, "When will I be happy?" and start saying, "I am happy because I am alive, because I am aware, because I am free." That shift in consciousness is everything. It transforms how you walk, speak, love, and live. The universe responds to such alignment. When your inner state radiates peace, your outer world begins to mirror it. Circumstances that once seemed impossible to overcome begin to dissolve. People who vibrate with your new energy are drawn to you. Doors open not because you chase them, but because you have become the kind of person who naturally attracts opportunity. This is the unseen law of harmony. When you are happy within, life harmonizes without. To push yourself to be happy every day, even when life is hard, is not a temporary practice. It is a way of being. It is the path of the awakened soul. It is the understanding that happiness is not something you achieve at the end of your journey. It is the very force that carries you through it. When you detach from fear, when you trust the unseen, when you choose joy as an act of faith, you align yourself with divine order. You live not as a victim of circumstance, but as a conscious creator of reality. And in that state of awareness, happiness ceases to be a fleeting emotion. It becomes your natural state, your silent power, your eternal truth. Happiness is not a destination you reach once life becomes perfect. It is the strength you carry within you as you walk through imperfection. To push yourself to be happy every day, even when life is hard, is to claim ownership of your spirit and refuse to let external chaos define your internal state. It is the highest act of faith to trust that peace can exist in the middle of pain, that joy can coexist with challenge, and that your purpose is greater than your problems. Detachment is the silent power that makes this possible. When you stop clinging to how things should be and accept life as it is, you transcend suffering. You discover that you are not the storm. You are the calm beyond it. True happiness, then, is not found in what you gain, but in what you release. It is born when you let go of the need to control, when you trust divine timing, and when you remember that nothing outside you has power unless you surrender it. The moment you master your emotions, you master your life. And in that mastery, you find something unshakable, something eternal. The peace of a soul that has learned to be happy, not because everything is right, but because it has become right within itself.